Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back to my channel and what is going to be a much shorter episode today about my project of creating a fantasy game book. One thing I didn't talk too much about yesterday was about ability scores. Now, I did say that I didn't want too many dice rolls, or I don't like having things quantified too much because it can actually break the illusion of the game. Um, it is a fantasy game book, and I think combat has to be part of it. And in as much as I would like to do a choice-based combat, I think a combination of dice rolls and choices would be the best, and certainly something that I would use for the significant battles, like against the main adversary of a book. So you need some kind of combat skill ability, and you need, well, I want to also have a kind of a luck ability, and I want it to work in a similar way to fighting fantasy, where when you use it, it goes down, and then you have chances of regaining it. That should be balanced rather well against your use of it. um, but one problem with fighting fantasy is that the variability of initial scores is too big. If you have 7 skill in these fighting fantasy books, most of them you can't win. There is no way you can win with, in many books, you can't win with less than 10 skill. It's simply impossible. So I was thinking that instead of rolling for initial skill, you pick your own initial skill as a way to decide the difficulty level you want to play at. And I want to give a choice between 10, 11, and 12 as initial skills. And that will also make it easier for me to balance the book to make 10 be difficult, to make 11 be hard but not too hard, and then make 10 or 12 be easy to play. So with a smaller range, it's easier to make a balanced book. So I think that's the way to go. So no rolling for initial scores, but you choose it. Maybe I would say that luck is. I don't know if I want too much variability in luck either to start with. Maybe I should say that it starts at 11, or maybe I'll do the same, that you can choose 10, 11, or 12. Do you have any thoughts on that? I think that's a good system. Um, because the rolling of ability scores is something that many people skip when they play fighting fantasy because they know that it won't it won't work unless they roll really well. So I want to take that out of the equation and leave it to the player to decide how easy or a hard time they want with the rolling, and therefore they can set their scores to what they think will give them the most enjoyment out of the game. If they like a challenge of rolling dice, then they choose 10 skill and 10 luck. If they want to have less dice rolling and more focus on the choices, finding the path, etc., then they choose high. I think I'll go with that. There should be some kind of health score as well, of course. I will also try to make that a smaller variability, so it's within a smaller range, maybe even a fixed rating, because in order for skill to be perfectly balanced, 10, 11, or 12 to be what really makes a difference in the game, then the best way to balance that out is to have everyone start with the same stamina score. So so I think I might just say that stamina is going to be this. Your luck and skill is going to be 10, 11, or 12. You pick. Right. Yeah. Result. I think I made a decision there that I will probably stick by. Um, Another thought I had this morning was I still don't know how I'm going to handle combat. I'll have to give that more thought, but I have always wanted to have a system of fumbles and critical strikes, meaning that when you roll 2 1s on 2 dice, then something bad happens, and when you roll 12 on 2 dice, then something good happens. So 2 automatic miss, 12 automatic hit, but then again, you can have the situation where both opponents actually do each other damage at the same time, but I think that's quite nice too. So, for instance, if you rolled a 12, and that would have been losing the combat round normally, you hit and you do normal damage. If you won the combat round and you roll 12, then you do double damage, for instance. Something like that. I'll talk more about that some other time. So today I just wanted to talk quickly about my thought this morning, which was about the ability scores. So I'm thinking luck and skill. I might call them something else. 10, 11, or 12, up to the player, and I'll explain in the rules that it's about choosing difficulty level, and of course I will make sure it is balanced. I can even calculate the exact chances of winning based on those different scores as well, because I know how to do that. So I've done it for fighting fantasy books, and I can even give those numbers in the rules and say that if you want a 50% chance of winning this game once you know the right path, you choose skill 11, for instance. Yeah, that sort of thing. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more when there is more. Goodbye for now.